For Classic Plus to live, WoW must die. It's like that's a pretty clickbait title. It's like, well, what do you mean by that? What it probably means is we need to get back to one WoW, right? Like we need to get back to like one great version of WoW versus all this seasonal, play this for a month, play that for a month, whatever. But, let's actually watch the video and see what's going on.
I first played WoW 18 years ago. I've played
only 18? What a casual. Where were you for the first few?
All expansions since release, but as the game evolved, it became something I no longer recognized. Until in 2019, when Blizzard made a decision no one ever thought they would. They re-released the original game. Vanilla is and will always be my favorite iteration of the game. No flying mounts, less endgame focused, more open world. For me, Vanilla felt about as close to perfect as an MMO can be. And let me tell you, when it came back, it wasn't just me who felt that way. Classic success might have been a surprise for Blizzard, but for us, it was inevitable. Though during that time, I couldn't help but thinking, is there a future for Classic? And what exactly would that look like?
What is going to happen after Classic WoW?
The idea of Classic Plus had been brewing online for years, and in 2023, I made a video about it.
Yo, this video was great, man. Holy fuck.
Damn, that hyped me up for Classic Plus even more now.
This is a really good video, man.
The video was received pretty well.
I remember that.
But not by everyone. Imagine having faith in Blizzard. Delusional Classic players. Sounds lame. Very constructive, dude. Thanks a lot. For some, it was impossible to believe. But at BlizzCon,
everyone in the chat is just like, holy copium. It's like, bro, what's going on? I think, I've said this many times, and he'll probably touch on it in the video. I think if you release Classic Plus, the way to do it is actually, it actually feels kind of weird, is you release a brand new server, okay, with no changes, so it's just Classic, but with a in-game polling system where you can basically change anything you want, and the community dictates where the game actually goes through voting. So very similar to old school RuneScape. That way, you don't have a situation where you go way too far and everyone's like, this isn't Classic Plus, this is crap. Like, a lot of people say that about SOD, even though I kind of like SOD. And that way you kind of like take it really slow and it slowly iterates and morphs into this thing that is eventually Classic Plus, but it starts off as really just Classic WoW. And then you start to add in things that are community voted and the community really takes it to where it's supposed to go. But anyway, let's watch this video.
In 2023, it became a little bit less impossible. Season of Discovery promised the beginning of a new era for Classic. A Classic Plus beta, a testing ground for what Classic Plus could become. But what happens when you change something that's already so close to perfect? Is there a chance the game could be ruined in the process? What does this mean for the future of Classic?
So what I always relate this to is like a game that is so close to perfect, right? I think of a game like chess. And if someone hired you and you had like a year to come up with chess 2.0 and it had to be better than chess, it's like, how would you be able to actually do it? And like the answer is probably no. But say you actually somehow did and you made a game better than chess in a year called chess 2.0. Say you actually pulled it off. The same people hired you to make chess 3.0 that had to be better than chess 2.0 and you had another year to do it. Right? This is basically WoW expansions. And it's like you have Classic and it's like so good. And it's like you can't just keep iterating on it year after year after year and continually make it better. At some point, you're going to come up with a game that you don't really want to change that much. It's like you have something that is really special, right? And I think that's kind of like that bottleneck that we're in.
This is the Classic Plus dilemma. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There really is something different about Classic. There are very few games that have stood the test of time for this long, and everyone has their own opinion on why that is. This is one of the main counter-arguments against Classic Plus. How can Blizzard make alterations to a game so beloved by millions and not alienate half the community in the process? Some people want new dungeons and raids. Some people want to explore unfinished zones and quests. And some people want the game to evolve into TBC+. So who does Blizzard listen to? Do they listen to their core classic audience, or do they risk fundamentally changing the game in hopes of bringing in a new, potentially bigger crowd? The truth is, I don't even think Blizzard knows yet. This seems to be the core design philosophy behind Season of Discovery. Throw enough shit at the wall, and surely something will stick, right? Or is there a possibility that it could divide the community more than ever?
Yeah,
Have you
exactly.
ever wondered what it might be like to be a tanking warlock? Or take on the role of a mage healer?
We are leaving the door open to the possibility of completely new experiences and the prospects of exploring previously unfinished or unused locales for future raid and dungeon content.
Kinda, old Czar. All right, kinda. It's kinda Classic Plus. It's a little bit kinda like Classic. Maybe.
Or is it? You see, when you push the game this far, you're going to attract a different sort of crowd. The kind of crowd who enjoys how different it feels, who likes the homogenization of classes, the hyper-focus on endgame, and the abundance of quality of life.
A lot of people are enjoying Season of Discovery, even retail Andes who have never played Classic WoW before.
Now all of a sudden, the classic community is split perfectly down the middle. Suddenly we have new voices contributing to the Classic Plus discussion, and a seasonal server purely dedicated to finding out what the community wants for Classic Plus makes that question all the more difficult to answer.
This is exactly the reason why I stopped playing Sauce.
This is one of the most fun times that you could ever have playing World of Warcraft Classic.
This is why you don't do band-aid fixes, man. Like, oh my gosh. The Season of Discovery shit is actually hype.
Does the team even PvP?
How would I approach Classic Plus if I was in charge?
We're more divided as a WoW community than I've ever seen.
Minimal changes. Otherwise you have Sol.
Yeah.
Despite this season's polarizing nature, it's also been a huge first step in the realization of Classic Plus. And as we've seen the Classic team grow and grow since its inception, it's clear that it's a concept that Blizzard have started to take seriously. But no matter what the Classic team does, they're going to upset someone. They've been given the impossible task of taking the most renowned and respected MMO of all time and making it better.
Right, that's why like a few minutes ago I said what I said, right? It has to, like, it's a tough situation. You're kind of bottlenecked. The only way to really do it is to do what Old School RuneScape does. You vote on things, and it has to be not just the majority, but a strong majority for things to actually be put in the game. And that way, if the community is like, this sucks, then they're not pointing the finger at Blizzard, they're pointing the finger at themselves, or at least they should be. And then if something actually sucks, they can vote it back out. So it's like, okay, should we put resources towards a Scarlet Crusade dungeon or raid experience? And like, say 90% of people say yes. It's like, okay, cool, let's do that. Like, should we add in chrono boons? 90% of people say yes. It's like, okay, cool. Should we do flying mounts? And it's like 40% say yes and 60% say no. It's like, okay, well, you don't do it then, right? So you just do the things that like nearly everyone wants. I think OSRS is like 70%, and then you kind of go from there. Right, and which means not much is actually gonna change, but I think that's a good thing, because you don't want to completely change Classic into like retail, right? That's not the goal. The goal is to kind of keep Classic, but then add in a bunch of stuff that is gonna make it feel even better, right? And that's only gonna happen through like some type of like voting strong majority system, I think. I mean, I'm open for discussion if there's a better way to do it. Maybe there is a better way that I haven't thought of, but that's the only thing that kind of keeps coming back to my mind.
And while it might seem simple, I think you'll be surprised at how many circles of players out there are pining for different things. The weight of that responsibility alone is immense.
Yeah.
So how do the developers decide where to focus their limited resources? Well, there is a solution to this, and I'll get to that later. But for now, we need to talk about what is, in my opinion, the most fundamentally important factor in guaranteeing the longevity of Classic Plus. Historically, WoW has always developed and distributed content in cycles, be it from fresh servers where everyone starts from level 1, or expansions that more or less trivialize all the content before it.
this is a major problem with vertical design. It invalidates old content extremely quickly.
This is Blizzard's biggest issue when it comes to Classic Plus. If WoW sticks to its predominantly vertical design, we risk falling into the same trap, with an ever-expanding power level that will eventually invalidate the older content in the same way as other MMOs do.
New content doesn't become more of the game, it sometimes becomes the only part of the game worth doing.
Fresh servers are also bustling with activity in the first few months, but eventually players run out of content and resort to raid logging while awaiting future patches.
You've cleared the raid, you've seen every possible bit of PvE content that there is, but there's still something to do. Doesn't seem like it has that.
A horizontal design, by contrast, would focus on adding evergreen, supplemental content that enriches the existing ecosystem without overshadowing it. This kind of design can prevent raid logging by giving players more content that isn't time-gated. And when it does come to new raids in Classic Plus,
I don't want them to add content onto the top of WoW and then increase the power creep even more. It's gonna spin out of control and it's gonna be stupid.
Instead of stacking more power on top of what already exists, rewards should offer different power. Unique set bonuses tailored to different playstyles, distinct item benefits, or rare cosmetic items.
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong here. They already are doing this with SOD. An example of horizontal power progression is something like the Sanctified system that they're doing in Naxxramas. It's the same thing with like fire resist gear as a priority in like Molten Core, right? That's already what they're doing. Yeah. So I think just like if it's vertical, to my knowledge, you just gain way more spell power, way more attack power, just way better stats. So if it's just way better stats, then you wouldn't want to do the rest of the game. But if it's sanctified gear, it's like, okay, well, if I'm trying to build gear that isn't specifically for Nax, I want to build gear that's better for, PvP, then this gear actually isn't the best for me, even though it's in the new patch. So they're already kind of doing it like a horizontal system in SOD. That's actually what they have been doing the last year.
If there was a new set of gear that was in the game that wasn't really that much stronger than the Nax set, but it gave you more build variety and it allowed you to do different things with your class.
So how should Blizzard find new ideas for horizontal content? Steal them. They gotta fucking steal. The funny thing is, this is exactly what Blizzard did to create WoW in the first place. They took concepts and systems from other MMOs and made them more digestible.
One of the things that Blizzard has always done so well over the years is take types of games that had previously appealed only to a narrow audience and make them accessible to a broader audience.
We were playing EverQuest, Ultima Online, and we thought, you know what, we could do that. Why don't we make one of these? This is awesome. I mean, why don't we make a game that we love?
You couldn't help but play it and say, well, this could be improved, or we could spin the content this way.
Every single piece of art that has ever existed has been in some way inspired by someone or something else. And in my opinion, WoW's fundamental design philosophy has to change if Classic Plus is to thrive. Thankfully, there are games to draw from in the MMO landscape. Those are the games we need to look to. We can look to old school RuneScape for their solo content and player agency, or look at Guild Wars 2 for their map completion and exploration content. And finally, look at private servers.
Turtle WoW, once again, I don't condone private servers because they're against TOS, and I don't play myself, but Turtle WoW is doing it right? Let's just say it. So you gotta do what Turtle WoW is doing is really the answer. They're doing it pretty well.
In-house created a space for the vanilla PvP community with its dueling server. And Turtle WoW has made possibly one of the most well-received versions of WoW ever by following this exact framework. They took the game we all love and fleshed out the world in the spirit of vanilla. With a more horizontal design, Blizzard can make evergreen content that will be relevant forever. And whether we trust the devs...
Would you guys be amped or not so amped if the Turtle WoW devs got purchased by Blizzard backed them with a bunch of funding, and they just made Classic Plus, kind of what Turtle WoW is, but it's official? Yes. Maybe that's just kind of the answer. You just give them some money to play with. You're do what you kind of have going on, but we'll support it. And then you just kind of let that, because people seem to already love that. And, that seems to be the biggest thing that people are actually agreeing on, I guess, because people seem to be disagreeing about this and that and how things should happen. It's maybe just if that's what people like, we kind of just start there.
choose to make the right content or not can be a decision that's entirely in our hands.
It's like a soft encouragement for us to keep talking to the players and kind of steer us in the right path.
I just see how awesome this is. Jagex are actually giving us the ability to decide what we want in RuneScape.
Make sure that we're doing the right thing.
Considering Old School just reached its peak player count of all time, there must be something good going on with the polling system.
Polling incoming changes removes the situation we were in with incursions. You can't poll class balance changes or faction-specific changes for obvious reasons. With polling, not everyone is going to get what they want, but that's always been the case. And with polling, some people, in fact most people, will.
I know that whatever I do has to pass a poll. That's always in the back of my head. So I know I can't half-ass this.
Jagex has their finger on the pulse. They release polls to the players to help decide the future of old school RuneScape.
And it's stopped us from making mistakes. It's stopped us from doing things that wouldn't have been good for the game. It has made content better.
Whether any of these ideas make their way into Classic Plus or not, the ball is well and truly rolling. And if Blizzard wants to solve the Classic Plus dilemma, they need to start taking inspiration from people who have already dedicated years to these ideas. Because it's clear that Classic Plus isn't a pipe dream anymore. It's an absolute certainty.
It's gonna change everything. It's gonna happen for sure. Hey, yo, 100%.
Classic Plus could be like the next big thing for WoW if it's done correctly.
The speculation that we all had about the Scarlet Raid was pretty accurate from the beginning.
You have Classic Plus that's set in Azeroth, and you're exploring the stuff that was already there.
Chat, we're in the Karazhan Crypts! It made original art
Crypts,
there's nowhere else in all of World of Warcraft.
Pretty much every version of Classic that we have at the moment always had scores of people saying that none of it would ever happen. But people keep asking for things, and things keep happening.
I think the community just needs to reflect on what we're doing as a team and try to think about why we're doing it. Why do we have an experimental seasonal server? You know, without saying anything.
I love the idea of horizontal progression through vanilla.
This is our sort of test bed.
And having a raid based around the Scarlet Crusade is like a dream scenario for me.
For Classic to thrive, it must be reborn.
This is the fertile ground to grow ideas for the future.
For Classic Plus to live, WoW as we know it, it must die.
Damn. All right, man. Taku, I just messaged him saying great vid. He did it again. Man, these videos are just so darn good. I mean, the editing and then the way it makes you think about Classic and like what's next. It's just awesome, man. Massive W video, man. Love it. So yeah, I mean, I think towards the end there, he was talking about like OSRS polling, right? And then towards the end there, he was flashing the tier 3.5 from Turtle WoW, right? I think like a mix of like you bring in some of the ideas from Turtle, maybe you bring in some of the ideas from these other game modes, and then you also have some type of polling system so you don't piss too many people off. I mean, that's probably about what it's gonna be, right? Like something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Link for the vid, yeah, I'll link it for you.